episode 83. Here we go. N.y.a show, man. 12 days passed. Not 12 days since a clip, because I did keep some clips up, but 12 days since a whole show. So shame on me. But at the time that I did the Wesley show, it was so close to the last show that I was like, I'm on top of it. And then just for me to double back and look up, like, yo, it's been that long since the show. So I said, time to hop right back on here. It took me a minute because I had something else planned, but I was like, let's go ahead and go with this. It's been so many different crazy stories. I already know it'd be a lot of crazy stories, but I landed on what I'm about to talk about now, which would be Mr. Tyler Perry, who showed up. Tyler Perry basically showed up at a fundraiser program, a fundraiser that was going on for the Apollo Theatre up there in New York. Tyler Perry gave $500,000 at the end of his speech, while he says that, my studio was once a former Confederate army base where 3.9 million Negroes and slaves at the time, and where the Confederate soldiers were plotting and planning on how to keep them enslaved. That well, now it's owned by one Negro, and what it means to honor that history is where it has been, and what it has been to redirect it and rechange it as far as the impact of the property that he now owns. So it's very important to me that we all give support. With that being said, I like to give $500,000 to make sure this place continues to grow and thrive. And that is great of Mr. Tyler Perry, because at the end of the day, Mr. Tyler Perry is always shooting at something on the internet. But when it comes to what he actually does, every time I look up his name, he always standing on this. You go look up multiple Tyler Perry speeches, you're going to see that same verbiage. My studio once was, is now owned by one Negro. He doesn't play when he wants you to understand, like, this one black man did this. No matter what, they don't ever want to give him his props. He won't get it from the mainstream. So that's why it's so important that we be like, yo, Tyler Perry, that's really dope what you did. This event was put on by Kenan Thompson, who hosted the fundraiser event at the Apollo. So I don't know who else was there. They raised 3.7 million in total. This story comes from Variety, but I found it on goodblacknews.org. So at the end of the day, they were able to do something positive, and I think that that's really dope when it comes to Mr. Tyler Perry. Salutes to him, and I hope that if they did stream it, I can go and find it where he actually gave the speech. But everybody go follow Tyler Perry, man. Shout out Tyler Perry. Now I want to talk about Simone Biles and the other gymnasts that are now seeking $1 billion from the FBI in relation to a case where they felt like they were failed because the sports doctor at the time, Mr. Lawrence Nassar, was assaulted over 90 women. And they said that basically they got the information last year. The FBI agents knew about the allegations against Nassar in 2015, but they failed to act, leaving him free to abuse women for another, more than a year after the original altercation. And he wasn't arrested until 2016. So it looked really bad on the FBI part that y'all got this information and y'all knew about it. But as I say in other situations that I tell people about, is that they all buddy. And when it comes time to click up over you versus them, it's like, dang, that's my partner. I don't know if I could really tell this information. I think that's what happened, even in places like the FBI. We watch Snowfall, we see these type of things go down all the time. So I think that it's really good that everybody came together and said, we want these funds. They took time to investigate it, but it was after people had already telling them about it. If they were going to bring allegations against the doctor, then what they could have done is put them on leave and investigated the situation, but yet they continued to let the doctor work. Yeah, his arrest didn't occur until the fall of 2016 after the Michigan State Police did an investigation. But if beforehand they could have just got to him and put him on leave and really investigate it, I don't know. That's just some form of privilege, I guess, or for him to get to work almost another year. And when they should have just put them in every other situation, they put people on leave. I don't know. I don't run schools, institutions, and things of that nature. But I would like to know what you guys think about that. How the doctor was able to abuse for longer, just because when it was initially reported, nobody really acted on it. And then they took a whole nother year to investigate, but he was still working doing that investigation when it could have been more of a case of putting him on leave until we figure out what's really going on. You ain't out of a job, but you out of here until we figure out what's going on. Chewing these allegations. So hey, that's the show for this week. Y'all let me know your thoughts. Number one, what do you think about Mr. Tyler Perry dropping $500K on the Apollo Theater? Everybody knows the Apollo Theater. I don't even think I have to just describe what the Apollo Theater is and what it's meant for so many acts that have come through there, and you knew they had to break at the Apollo. So that's really a true part of the culture. So I think that's really dope that Tyler Perry did that. And also, what do you think about this new lawsuit that's been filed against the FBI for over $1 billion? These young ladies want their money because you can't give them back what they lost physically. You can't give it back to them. So this is the next act that this is what they should be going after, getting their chips, because at the end of the day, somebody got to pay. It's the N.y.a show. Appreciate y'all, and I'll holler at you next week.